came for me last night. The text message was never sent, never delivered, never read. Found typed but unsent on Folake Okafor's phone at 1:17 a.m., March 18, 2014. 3 minutes later, she was fighting for her life. The pristine white walls of room 317 at Harbor Resort captured the final screams of a woman who thought she had escaped. Security footage shows Chimaobi Okafor slipping through the staff entrance at 12:47 a.m., his face tight with rage, a man on a mission. By 2:17 a.m., when police broke down the door, Folake lay motionless in a pool of crimson, stabbed 17 times with a fruit knife meant for peeling mangoes from the welcome basket. He just sat there, covered in his wife's blood, staring out at the ocean like he was waiting for something, recalled Officer Adebayo, first responder to the scene. In 15 years on the force, I've never seen eyes so empty. Blood spatter analysis revealed Folake had tried to reach the phone. She'd fought back hard. She'd almost made it to the door. Almost. 8 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children, a luxury home in Lagos's most exclusive neighborhood, a joint bank account with millions of naira. How does love transform into such deadly obsession? This isn't just another crime of passion. This is a masterclass in the warning signs we all miss, in our friends' relationships, in our family members' marriages, perhaps even in our own homes. The Harbor Resort murders expose the dangerous progression from jealous text checking to fatal violence, a path walked by thousands of victims every year. Before we continue, click subscribe to join our Guilty Minds community. These stories matter because they save lives. Every like spreads awareness. Every comment helps someone recognize the red flags we'll uncover tonight. The children who lost both parents that night, one to death, one to prison, deserve for their mother's story to be told. And you deserve to know exactly how Chimaobi Okafor went from respected banker to cold-blooded killer in just 72 hours. Every Sunday morning, the Okafors arrived at Shepherd's Flock Church in their gleaming black Mercedes-Benz GL 450. Chimaobi's tailored suits and Folake's elegant jellies turned heads as they walked down the center aisle with their 2 impeccably dressed children in tow. After services, they hosted monthly brunches at their Lekki Phase 1 home, where Lagos's elite networked over imported wines and gourmet catering. They were what every young Nigerian couple aspired to become, recalled Dr. Neka Obi, a close family friend. Chimaobi dominated boardroom discussions at First Capital Bank, where he managed high-net-worth clients. Folake's marketing campaigns for Telcoplis won 3 industry awards in 2013 alone. Their social media told a curated story: family vacations in Dubai, children's birthdays with elaborate themes, anniversary dinners with champagne toasts. Their home featured in Lagos Living magazine's Power Couples issue just 4 months before the murder. The 6-bedroom property with infinity pool and imported Italian furniture became a symbol of new money success in Nigeria's economic boom. Both came from middle-class backgrounds, meeting at University of Lagos where they were campus sweethearts. Their rise exemplified the Nigerian dream: education, corporate success, international connections, and financial security. Chimaobi always insisted on perfection, said his former colleague, Emeka Nwosu. Client portfolios, office presentations, even the way he organized his desk. Everything had to be flawless. This demand for perfection extended to his family image. Former household staff revealed strict rules. Children never cried in public. Folake coordinated outfits with Chimaobi for events. Family photos required multiple takes until everyone's smile looked genuine. Their children attended Lakeview International Academy, Lagos's most expensive private school. The couple donated generously to charitable causes, with Folake serving on the board of a women's empowerment foundation. Their annual Christmas party became a must-attend event for anyone seeking connections in Nigeria's business community. From the outside, they represented Black excellence and achievement, noted sociologist Dr. Adaobi Nwabani. Their lifestyle embodied success within Nigeria's complex socioeconomic hierarchy. Yet beneath the lavish dinner parties and vacation photos lurked increasing tensions that nobody, not friends, colleagues, or extended family, fully recognized until it was too late. How many perfect families around you are silently suffering right now? The neighbor who always parks luxury cars in their driveway? Your colleague who posts idyllic family photos every weekend? The couple at church whose children never seem to misbehave? The Okafors maintained their immaculate facade until blood stained a hotel room floor 750 kilometers from home. Their tragedy reveals how effectively wealth and social status can mask domestic turmoil, and how the pressure to maintain appearances can become a prison from which some see only one violent escape. As we continue examining their story, watch for the subtle cracks that eventually shattered this perfect family image, cracks that someone might have noticed in time. While the Okafors projected perfection to the outside world, security camera footage from their home told a different story. Installed by Chimaobi in 2012 for protection, these cameras documented the gradual transformation of their marriage. He began checking her phone around 2011, Yewande Adeyemi, Folake's sister, later testified. At first, it seemed like normal curiosity. By 2013, he demanded her passwords and tracked her location constantly. As Folake's telecommunications career ascended, Chimaobi's behavior intensified. When she received her promotion to marketing director in September 2013, home security footage captured Chimaobi throwing her celebration cake against the wall. "You think you're so special now," he shouted. "Who were you meeting to get that position?" Former housekeeper Grace Okonkwo recalled, "Madam would come home excited about a successful campaign, and Master would question who she worked with, especially male colleagues. He called her office 10, 15 times daily. Sometimes he appeared at her workplace unannounced to surprise her." Phone records revealed Chimaobi's obsession with verification. Between January and March 2014, he called Folake's colleagues 37 times to confirm her whereabouts. He created fake social media accounts to monitor her online activity. In February 2014, he hired a driver to follow her for 3 consecutive days. The controlling behaviors followed classic escalation patterns, explained Dr. Funmi Adesanya, domestic violence specialist who later consulted on the case. Financial control came first. Joint accounts he solely managed, questioning every purchase. Then social isolation, criticizing her friends until she stopped inviting them over. Finally, psychological manipulation, convincing her his jealousy proved his love. Police records revealed 2 unreported incidents. In November 2013, neighbors called authorities after hearing breaking glass and screams. When officers arrived, Folake claimed she'd accidentally knocked over a shelf. In January 2014, she called police herself but declined to file charges, telling responding officers it was just a misunderstanding. Hospital records showed Folake visited emergency rooms in 3 different Lagos neighborhoods between 2012 to 2014. Each time with injuries consistent with domestic violence: fractured wrist, bruised ribs, concussion. Each time she attributed injuries to accidents. "She confided in me 2 weeks before Calabar," her assistant Ngozi revealed. She said, "I can't breathe in my own home anymore. The cameras watch everything. He times my commute. He checks my emails. He's convinced I'm betraying him." These patterns mirror disturbing statistics in Nigeria, where the Demographic and Health Survey reports 30% of women aged 15 to 49 have experienced physical violence since age 15. Only 32% of victims seek help, with family members, not authorities, being primary resources. Among wealthy households, reporting rates drop further due to social pressure and reputation concerns. High-status women face unique barriers, noted women's rights advocate Amina Danladi. Their financial security becomes a cage. Their social standing becomes another reason to remain silent. Who would believe the prestigious banker was terrorizing his accomplished wife? Text messages from Folake to her sister revealed her growing fear. "He's different when we're alone. Sometimes I don't recognize his eyes. Last night he grabbed my throat when I received a work call at 8 p.m. How many women in your circle are sending similar messages right now? What conversations happen behind closed doors in the houses you drive past every day? What excuses do your colleagues make for unexpected absences or unusual bruises? Like, comment, and share this video to break the silence surrounding domestic violence. Your engagement might reach someone who needs to recognize these warning signs before it's too late." January 27, 2014. A turning point arrived in the form of a LinkedIn message. "Remember me from Unilag Marketing Club. Saw your campaign for Telcoplis. Congratulations on your success." The message came from Damilola Adeniyi, Folake's university classmate who had moved to Ghana after graduation. Now back in Nigeria heading a digital agency, he reached out professionally. Their initial exchanges focused on industry trends and marketing strategies. Court records included their complete message history. The transition from professional to personal happened gradually. February 3, those lectures from Professor Adebayo still help me today. Remember how he called us the dynamic duo after our final presentation? February 15, my marriage? It looks perfect on Instagram. Reality is more complicated. February 28, sometimes I wonder who I've become. I used to laugh. I used to create without fear. Now I calculate every word before speaking. Voice recordings found on Folake's password-protected second phone captured a late-night call with her sister Yewande on March 2nd. "I've consulted a lawyer," Folake whispered. "He says with documentation of abuse I could get custody. I've been photographing bruises, saving threatening texts, recording outbursts. Where will you go? Yewande asked. I've been transferring small amounts to a separate account. 5,000 naira here, 10,000 there. Not enough for him to notice. Almost enough for the children and me to start over. When? After I gather more evidence. After I secure our documents. After I find somewhere he won't find us immediately. The reconnection with Damilola offered unexpected emotional support. Their messages evolved from reminiscing to confiding. By early March, they discussed meeting in person. On March 10th, Folake received an email about a marketing conference in Calabar scheduled for March 17 to 19. She forwarded it to her supervisor with her intention to attend, copied the email to Chimaobi, then deleted the original. What Chimaobi didn't see was her message to Damilola. I'll be at Harbor Resort, room 317. 3 days away from surveillance, 3 days to discuss possibilities, 3 days to remember who I was before fear became my constant companion. Hotel reservation records showed she booked a single room, but requested champagne service for 2. Her search history revealed research on divorce lawyers in Lagos and apartment rentals in Abuja. She wasn't planning an affair, Yewande later testified. She was planning an escape. The evening before her departure, home security footage captured Folake carefully packing business attire alongside casual clothes. She kissed her sleeping children, lingering longer than usual. She transferred documents to a secure cloud account. She deleted message histories, except those she preserved as evidence. I'll call when I land, were her final words to Chimaobi as she left for the airport on March 17th. Have you noticed someone you care about gradually disconnecting from friends? Making excuses for their partner's behavior, changing their appearance or habits to avoid conflict. Like this video and comment with relationship red flags you've witnessed or experienced. Your insight might help someone recognize danger before tragedy strikes. For Folake Okafor, the Calabar trip represented a crucial decision point. She never imagined it would be her final journey. March 17, 2014 began as a normal workday for Chimaobi Okafor. He arrived at First Capital Bank at 7:45 a.m., led the morning briefing, and met with 3 high-value clients. Security footage from his office showed him checking his phone periodically throughout the morning, standard behavior for someone whose wife was traveling. At 1:17 p.m., everything changed. We captured the exact moment on bank security cameras, Detective Ibrahim later testified. He was reviewing portfolio documents when he glanced at his phone. His entire body tensed. He excused himself immediately from his meeting. What Chimaobi saw was Folake's location via TrackMate Pro, surveillance software he had secretly installed on her phone weeks earlier. Instead of showing her at the Meridian Conference Center, where the marketing event was scheduled, the GPS pinpointed Harbor Resort, 3 kilometers away. Bank footage showed Chimaobi return to his office, close the blinds, and spend 23 minutes on his computer. Digital forensics later revealed his activities. He accessed Folake's email through her saved password, searched Damilola Adeni, and found their message history through an email backup she had forgotten to delete. At 1:53 p.m., he called his assistant, cancel everything. Family emergency. His search history showed flight bookings to Calabar. The only available same-day flight departed at 9:20 p.m. Too long to wait. His next search, Lagos to Calabar driving distance. Google Maps estimated 8 hours and 37 minutes. He left the bank at 2:07 p.m. Traffic cameras tracked his Mercedes speeding eastward out of Lagos. At a gas station in Benin City, surveillance captured him purchasing energy drinks, fuel, and, crucially, a new prepaid phone. Cell tower data showed his primary phone powered off at 3:42 p.m., making him untraceable. He drove 748 kilometers in 7 hours and 15 minutes, noted prosecutor Adebayo during the trial. Average speed exceeding 100 km/h on roads where 70 km/h is often impossible due to conditions. This wasn't impulsive rage. This was calculated pursuit. Calabar traffic cameras captured his arrival at 9:32 p.m. He circled Harbor Resort twice before parking 2 blocks away at 9:47 p.m. Hotel security footage showed him entering the main lobby at 1:03 p.m., wearing sunglasses despite the late hour. Night manager Joseph F. Young recalled their interaction. He requested Mrs. Okafor's room number, claiming to surprise his wife. Following protocol, I offered to call her room first. He declined, saying it would ruin the surprise. When I refused to provide the information, he became agitated but quickly composed himself and left. External cameras showed Chimaobi circling the property, studying exit points and staff movements. At 11:42 p.m., he approached maintenance worker Emeka Ibe near the service entrance. Their conversation wasn't recorded, but Ibe later confessed Chimaobi paid him 50,000 Nigerian nairas for access to the staff keycard and uniform. At 12:47 a.m., now dressed in maintenance attire, Chimaobi entered through the service door. He proceeded to the housekeeping office where master keycards were stored. Security footage showed him taking one key, testing it on a vacant room, then proceeding to the third floor. The camera at the end of the hallway captured his approach to room 317 at 1:19 a.m. He paused for 8 seconds, removed his cap, straightened his clothes, then used the keycard. The door opened. He entered. The hallway remained empty. Could someone be tracking your movements right now? Digital security experts confirm that stalkerware installations increased 63% in Nigeria since 2019. These apps operate invisibly, revealing your location, messages, and calls to someone else. Your phone might be watching you. Your car might have a hidden tracker. Your computer could be recording every keystroke. Take a moment right now to check your phone settings. Look for unfamiliar apps, unusual battery drain, unexpected data usage. Your awareness might save your life. For Folake Okafor, the technology meant to connect us became the tool that sealed her fate. As Chimaobi stepped into room 317, 7 hours of determined pursuit culminated in the final confrontation between husband and wife. 1:20 a.m., room 317's electronic lock registered entry using a master keycard. Hotel security logs confirmed the door opened once and closed immediately. Forensic experts later reconstructed what happened inside based on evidence patterns, audio recordings from adjacent rooms, and Chimaobi's eventual confession. Folake was seated at the desk, writing in her journal when the door opened. Her pen mark dragged across the page, a startled reaction. The journal entry stopped mid-sentence. Tomorrow when Dami arrives, I need to explain that I'm not ready for planning your new life. Chimaobi's first words according to his confession. The ensuing conversation was partially captured on Folake's phone. She had been voice recording notes for work, and the device continued recording for 17 minutes after Chimaobi's entrance. Audio forensics expert Dr. Kemi Adedeji analyzed the recording. We hear initial shock, then Folake attempting to de-escalate. She repeatedly says, "Let me explain, and this isn't what you think." Chimaobi's voice remains eerily controlled at first, asking detailed questions about her relationship with Damilola. 1:28 a.m., the recording captured Folake's first scream when Chimaobi grabbed her wrist. The struggle moved across the room, evidenced by overturned furniture and blood spatter patterns. In room 319, American tourists David and Janet Wilson heard the commotion. At first we thought it was just a couple arguing, Janet testified. Then came a crash, like furniture breaking, followed by a woman yelling, "Please don't do this." 1:32 a.m. The phone recording ended when the device was knocked to the floor. Forensics indicated Folake tried to reach the hotel phone next, knocking over a lamp in the process. Blood evidence showed the initial assault began near the desk with non-fatal defensive wounds on Folake's hands and arms. She retreated toward the bathroom, leaving blood traces along the wall. 1:37 a.m., witness Emmanuel Okan in room 315 heard banging against his adjoining wall. It sounded like someone being thrown repeatedly against the structure. Then a woman cried out, "Think of our children." Crime scene analysis revealed Chimaobi retrieved the fruit knife from the welcome basket during this period. The 11-centimeter blade showed his fingerprints on the handle, and both his and Folake's DNA on the blade. 1:42 a.m., multiple guests reported hearing horrific screaming that suddenly stopped. Occupants from 3 different rooms called the front desk within 2 minutes. Hotel security officer Thomas F. Young arrived at 1:46 a.m. but received no response to his knocks. Following protocol for domestic disturbances, he called police rather than entering. Dr. Nnamdi Okoro, medical examiner, determined Folake suffered 17 stab wounds, 3 to the chest, including one that pierced her heart, 5 to the abdomen, and 9 defensive wounds on her arms and hands. The pattern indicates frenzied attack rather than calculated precision, Dr. Okoro testified. The fatal chest wound came approximately midway through the assault. 1:58 a.m., police officers Sergeants Adebayo and Nwachukwu arrived. After announcing their presence with no response, they used the manager's emergency keycard to enter at 2:17 a.m. They discovered a devastated room, overturned furniture, bloodied walls, broken glass. Folake lay face up beside the bed, arms outstretched, already showing signs of lividity. The white hotel robe she wore was saturated crimson. Chimaobi sat motionless on the balcony, still gripping the bloody knife, staring at the ocean. The most disturbing aspect, Sergeant Adebayo recalled, was his complete calm. No emotion, no resistance. When I handcuffed him, he simply asked if his children were asleep at home. Dr. Abimbola Taiwo, forensic psychologist who evaluated Chimaobi, provided insight into the psychology behind such crimes. Pathological jealousy differs fundamentally from normal jealousy. While occasional jealousy reflects typical human insecurity, pathological jealousy involves deep delusions that resist logical evidence. The mind creates elaborate conspiracy theories to justify surveillance and control. These individuals genuinely believe their suspicions, regardless of contradicting reality. Each innocent explanation becomes further proof of deception. This distorted thinking progressively isolates them from rational thought, creating a closed loop where violence eventually seems justified. The transformation from respected banker to killer wasn't sudden. It represented the culmination of a psychological process. Jealousy hijacked Chimaobi's cognitive function, overriding his professional training, social awareness, and even parental instincts. What makes these cases particularly dangerous, Dr. Taiwo emphasized, is how functional these individuals remain in other areas of life. Colleagues, friends, even family members rarely recognize the severity of their condition until tragedy occurs. By 3:05 a.m., Chimaobi Okafor was in custody. Folake's body was being photographed by crime scene. Technicians and their children slept peacefully at their grandmother's home, unaware their lives had permanently, irrevocably changed. March 18, 2014, 5:30 a.m., as dawn broke over Calabar, Chimaobi Okafor sat in an interrogation room at Central Police Station. For 3 hours he remained silent, refusing water, declining legal representation. His expression never changed, recalled Detective Obiora. When we showed him photos of Folake, he studied them like financial reports, analytically, without emotion. At 8:47 a.m., Chimaobi finally spoke. She betrayed our family. I protected our legacy. The formal confession came 2 days later after his court-appointed attorney arrived from Lagos. The 12-page statement detailed his surveillance methods, his journey to Calabar, and the confrontation in methodical terms. He described the stabbing with the detachment of someone narrating a business transaction. I executed what needed to be done, the confession concluded. The children will understand someday. Meanwhile, at Lagos International Airport, Damilola Adeniyi boarded his 7:15 a.m. flight to Calabar, unaware of the night's events. His carry-on contained a gift, a first edition of Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, Folak's favorite novel from their university days. Text messages recovered from his phone showed his final message to her at 11:23 p.m. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Whatever you decide about your future, I'm here to support you. Harbor Resort security footage captured Damilola's arrival at 9:32 a.m. He approached the front desk with a smile that vanished when police officers intercepted him. Hotel staff described his collapse upon hearing the news, requiring medical attention for shock. He kept repeating, "I should have come yesterday," hotel manager Blessing Okan testified. The guilt consumed him instantly, though he had no way of knowing what would happen. Police questioned Damilola for 14 hours, verifying his whereabouts during the murder and examining his relationship with Folake. His phone records and witness testimonies confirmed he had no involvement in her death beyond their planned meeting. The text history proved they never had physical intimacy, prosecutor Adebayo noted. Their relationship represented Folake's emotional escape, not romantic betrayal as Chimaobi claimed. In Lagos, the news reached Folake's mother at 6:20 a.m. through a police visit. The officers found her already caring for the Okafor children, 6-year-old Adana and 4-year-old Emeka, who believed their mother was still at her conference. Child psychologist Dr. Nkechi Udoka worked with the family to develop an age-appropriate explanation. We created a framework that acknowledged their mother's death without traumatic details, emphasizing that she loved them and didn't choose to leave them. The children's drawings from therapy sessions revealed their confusion, pictures of their mother floating among clouds, images of their father behind lines resembling cage bars. Their questions evolved from "when is mommy coming home?" to "did daddy hurt mommy?" to "are we safe now?" Custody arrangements became complicated as both maternal and paternal grandparents petitioned for guardianship. Court records showed Chimaobi's parents initially denied their son's guilt despite his confession, claiming Folake had provoked him through infidelity, a narrative that forensic evidence contradicted. As news of the murder spread through Nigerian media, the case triggered national conversations about domestic violence. Women's rights organizations held vigils outside the Okafor home. The hashtag Justice for Folake trended across West Africa. Former colleagues from Tokoplis established a trust fund for the children's education. Folake's university classmates created a scholarship in her name for marketing students facing domestic hardship. Share this video to help someone recognize the warning signs of controlling relationships. Domestic violence thrives in silence. Your share might reach someone struggling with surveillance, isolation, or psychological control before tragedy strikes. The Harbor Resort murder forced Nigeria to confront uncomfortable truths about domestic violence in upper-class households, challenging the notion that education and wealth protect women from intimate partner violence. The State v. Chimaobi Okafor trial began October 7, 2014, at Lagos High Court. Despite his confession, Chimaobi pleaded not guilty, with his defense team claiming crime of passion and temporary insanity as mitigating factors. Courtroom footage captured the moment Chimaobi first appeared, composed in a tailored suit, expression neutral. Public reaction was immediate. The gallery erupted until Judge Adebisi Ogunbanjo threatened to clear the room. The defense strategy attempted to portray Folake as the transgressor, explained legal analyst Tunde Fagbenle. They presented her planned meeting with Damilola as evidence of marital betrayal justifying extreme emotional distress. This strategy collapsed when prosecutors introduced Folake's journal documenting 3 years of escalating abuse. Pages detailed incidents where Chimaobi monitored her calls, isolated her from friends, and physically intimidated her. Most devastating was her final entry. "I'm not leaving him for another man. I am leaving to save myself." Digital forensics expert Aisha Mohammed presented evidence from Chimaobi's devices showing premeditation. His search history included Nigeria, self-defense law, justifiable homicide, and punishment for adultery in the weeks before the murder. Dr. Olufemi Lawson, domestic violence specialist, testified about control patterns. The surveillance, isolation, and financial dominance Mr. Okafor exhibited represent classic progression toward lethal violence. When control is threatened, the risk of homicide increases dramatically. The prosecution's case strengthened when 3 former domestic staff testified about witnessing physical abuse. Former driver Emmanuel Obi described taking Folake to the hospital for a fall that Chimaobi had orchestrated by pushing her downstairs. On day 9, Damilola Adeniyi testified. His voice breaking, he explained, "She wasn't running to me, she was running from him. Our meeting was about helping her find safe housing while she planned legal separation." The defense attempted to portray Chimaobi as a dedicated father whose actions stemmed from protecting his family. This narrative crumbled when prosecutors revealed he had recently changed his life insurance policy, removing Folake as beneficiary 3 weeks before the murder. After 17 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 4 hours before returning a guilty verdict for first-degree murder. Judge Ogunbanjo delivered the maximum sentence, life imprisonment without possibility of parole for 30 years. Her statement emphasized deterrence. This court sends a message that wealth and status provide no immunity from justice when one takes a human life. Outside the courthouse, domestic violence survivors held signs reading, "Could have been me." Women's rights advocates criticized the system for ignoring Folake's previous attempts to report abuse. Court records showed authorities had dismissed her earlier complaints, with one officer noting, "Wealthy couples should handle private matters privately." Is justice ever truly served in these cases? The system that failed to protect Folake while she lived convicted her killer after her death. For every high-profile case like the Okafors, thousands of women face violence without media attention or public outcry. Like this video if you believe our justice system needs reform in handling domestic violence complaints. Comment with ways authorities might better protect victims before tragedy strikes rather than merely punishing perpetrators afterward. The Okafor case transformed Nigeria's approach to domestic violence in ways that continue to resonate years later. Media coverage initially focused on the sensational aspects: wealthy banker, beautiful executive, coastal hotel murder. However, as details emerged about the history of abuse, public discourse shifted toward prevention and recognition of warning signs. Before this case, domestic violence rarely made front pages unless it involved celebrities, noted media analyst Dr. Funke Aboderin. The Okafors changed that. Suddenly, newsrooms developed dedicated beats covering intimate partner violence as a social issue rather than isolated incidents. Lagos State responded with legislative action. The Protection Against Domestic Violence law, previously stalled in committee for 3 years, passed unanimously in November 2014. The legislation, nicknamed Folake's Law, strengthened restraining order enforcement and mandated police training on responding to domestic disturbance calls. Corporate Nigeria implemented workplace policies acknowledging domestic violence as an occupational safety issue. Telcoplis, Folake's employer, pioneered confidential support services for employees experiencing abuse, including relocation assistance and security consultations. Banking regulations changed after financial evidence showed how Chimaobi controlled family assets despite Folake's substantial income. The Central Bank of Nigeria issued guidelines requiring financial institutions to flag potential economic abuse indicators, such as one partner restricting access to joint accounts. Grassroots organizations emerged across the country. The Folak Okafor Foundation, established by her former university classmates, created Nigeria's first comprehensive safehouse network specifically for professional women and their children fleeing abuse. Most significantly, the case sparked nationwide conversations about the intersection of class, gender, and violence. Community watch groups formed in affluent neighborhoods previously considered immune to domestic problems. Religious leaders incorporated abuse recognition in premarital counseling programs. The phrase "Remember Folak" became shorthand for encouraging intervention when witnessing concerning relationship dynamics. Billboard campaigns featured her professional headshot with warning signs of controlling behavior, reaching millions across West Africa. Through her tragic death, Folake Adiemi Okafor catalyzed protection mechanisms that continue saving lives, proving that meaningful change can emerge from devastating loss. The tragedy of Folake Okafor offers critical insights that might save lives. Relationship control rarely begins with violence. It evolves through subtle stages many dismiss as protectiveness or attentiveness. Early warning signs in the Okafor case included location monitoring disguised as concern, isolation from supportive relationships, financial control despite dual incomes, technology used for surveillance, accusations requiring proof of innocence, punishment for career advancement, emotional volatility when authority questioned. Dr. Maya Ibekwe, relationship psychologist, emphasizes the progression from checking a partner's phone to lethal violence doesn't happen overnight. Each boundary crossed makes the next violation easier to justify. Digital safety has become equally crucial. The Folake Foundation offers free tech clinics teaching how to detect tracking software, secure communication channels, and create emergency exit plans. Their handbook, Digital Escape Routes, has been downloaded over 200,000 times since its 2015 publication. On the anniversary of her death each year, marketing professionals gather at University of Lagos, where Folake studied, awarding scholarships to students demonstrating both creative excellence and community leadership. The memorial garden planted there features benches inscribed with messages of hope and resilience. Her children, now in their teens, participate in these ceremonies. In 2023, daughter Adana spoke publicly for the first time. "I lost my mother to violence, but her legacy gives other children the chance to keep theirs. This brings meaning to our pain." Perhaps the most powerful tribute comes from the hundreds of women who seek help annually, citing Folake's story as their motivation. Crisis centers report callers specifically mentioning her name when taking their first steps toward safety. Subscribe to Guilty Minds Crime Stories for more cases that reveal crucial life-saving lessons. Our channel examines these tragedies not for sensationalism, but for education, analyzing warning signs, exploring prevention strategies, and honoring victims through meaningful change. Like and share this video to spread awareness about relationship control. Comment with resources available in your community for those facing domestic violence. Your engagement helps our algorithm reach those who might desperately need this information. One subscription might save a life. One share might reach someone looking for courage to leave. One comment might connect a survivor to crucial support. Folake Okafor's voice was silenced, but through her story, countless others find theirs.